Hello, this is Wasey with Brazos River Air Conditioning again. We're going to start our indoor air quality video series. This video series will cover a lot of different things. We're going to start with filters. We'll probably move on to ductwork sealing and testing and cleaning. And we may break those into a couple of videos depending on how long they get. And then we'll do air exchange, dehumidification, and then just kind of different types of builds and how they affect your home. But today we're going to deal with filters. Everyone has a filter. If you think that your system does not have a filter, you probably are wrong and you need to find your filter or find where your filter is supposed to go. If you run your system without a filter or you run with a dirty filter, stuff will get by and get onto your coil and stop up your coil, which will cause problems both in the heat and the cooling, and decrease the life of your equipment. I get asked all the time what the proper time period between filters is, and that's a very situation-based question. In your home, people may be in and out the door 10 times more a day than in my home, or you may live on a gravel road and I live on a paved road, or you have cats and dogs and I do not. All of these things will change how often you change your filter. So if you want to know how long you should go, I suggest buying a new filter, checking it after a week. If it's dirty, change it out. If you go and it's good for 2 weeks, go to a month. If it's dirty after a month, start changing it every month. If you can go 6 weeks and it's not dirty, then you can do every 6 weeks. But it is going to change for every home. And that is why the 90-day filters are not 90-day filters. That's 90 days in a perfect environment. None of our homes are going to be like a test environment. So just assume that you're not going to get 90 days. Find what your time period is. And then set a schedule accordingly. Set a reminder in your phone. Put it on the calendar, whatever it is. Find a system and work the system. Make it work for you. Set it up so that when you get your electric bill, you're reminded to change your filter, or just a calendar reminder in your phone to give you a message. Whatever you need to do just to let you remember it. The next question after how long can I go with my filter is always, what kind of filter should I be using? There's many different types. We're going to try to cover most of the common ones here and kind of go from there. So your MERV 1 to 6, or really 1 to 4, are kind of your glass kind of see-through filters. These will be the cheapest filters that you can buy. They pick up a lot of the big material. They do not catch a whole lot of the smaller material. Basically, they're good for dog hair, cat hair, big dust and stuff like that, but they're not going to catch mold spores or allergens or any of that stuff. So I don't like people using this as their main filter. I do have several customers that use it as a primary filter, either at their wall or in their ceiling, and then they have a good high quality filter at their unit. That works extremely well. It saves you from buying a lot of different more expensive filters. You can change out the cheaper ones more often and leave your good one a little bit longer. Just make sure that if you're going to do this, that you're sure that you have enough return air to accommodate it. Every filter that you add onto the system is adding resistance to your airflow. You need a certain amount of airflow for your system to work properly. So if you're not sure, consult the AC technician, give us a call, whatever, and we'll take a look at it. We'll see if you have enough return air, how we can add some return air, what kind of resistance we're seeing, all of that stuff. Just keep that in mind. But I do have a lot of customers that have dogs and stuff in the house, and rather than using pleated filters to catch all of the dog hair, they use these as kind of a pre-filter to catch all the dog hair and stuff, change them out pretty frequently, and then they have a good pleated filter underneath that they change out less frequently. Your next ratings are going to be like 8 to 13. This is kind of your standard rating. They're going to be your, we'll get back to this. They're going to be your standard pleated filters. Most of you have seen them. They have the little white ridges in between. They're a little bit thicker material than the see-through. They do a good job as far as filtering out a lot of different particles. You can get them in 1 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch. I have a lot of people ask me if there's a preference on the 4 to 5 versus the 1. And I think this really comes down to how good you are with your system and with your filter schedule. If you're going to forget a 1 inch filter for a month, or you're going to forget a 4 inch filter for 6 months past when it should be changed, I would prefer that you forget the 1 inch filter for a month than to leave a 4 inch filter in there for multiple months later than it should be. Typically you're already a little thicker material, you're a little bit dirtier with the 4 to 5 inch filter, so you've already got some resistance built up there, and if you let it go longer than what you should, you're going to end up adding a lot of resistance to your system, and if that's the case, just stick to the 1 inch filters. It'll get dirty a little quicker, but at least you'll know a little quicker, and not near as much stuff will get by. We're going to skip back here real quick to a washable filter. You can see this one is a MERV 4. These are sort of like the see-through filters. They're probably a little bit better than the see-through as far as picking up material. The major misconception with these is that you buy them and you never have to replace them. Washable filters typically only last for 3 or 4 times worth of washing them. Once you've washed them 3 or 4 times, you need to discard them and get another one. You never get all of the material out of them, and over time they're just another dirty filter that you can't get clean. Again, they work good for dog hair and cat hair and bigger material as a pre-filter to your other main filter, but I prefer to not see my customers use this as their main filter. So the next type of filter that we'll talk about is a media filter, and typically these are going to be somewhere between this 13 and this 14 to 20 range. They do an extremely good job. They're zoom in here, but they come in a little narrower box. As you can see, it's not very big, and they're what we refer to as an accordion type filter. So they're a thicker material that'll catch more than your normal pleated filters. They'll have a cabinet housing, and they'll fold out like an accordion, and these will hook into little tabs on the side of the housing and hold them in there. They're much better for allergies and different bacteria and mold spores and stuff like that in your home. They're a little more expensive to put in from the start, but they'll usually go a little bit longer than your typical filters, and they're a very good option if you've got huge allergy problems or breathing problems or something like that. This filter will catch a lot of stuff and help you out. Combined with a UV light, they're as good as most of the electronic filtration system setups. So with that being said, let's move on to different ones that we carry and suggest. These are the media filter that I just showed you. As you can see, it's a kind of a plastic door with a little handle that you can pull back to you, and you pull it out, and you can't really see it, but you can kind of see the darker spots here running up and down the filter. Those are combs on the other side that kind of hold them in place, and basically you put it into this little plastic housing, you clip it into each side, and you change it out once every 4 to 6 months, something like that, depending on the house again. But these are as good of a physical filter as you're going to find. Past those filters, you get into electronic filters. The earliest ones of these were really the electrostatics. And I'll show you one in a minute, but kind of how they work is you have your air particles coming in. There's usually a pre-filter of some sort here, a washable type filter to catch all of the larger stuff, and then the rest of the dirty air starts into an ionizer or something that charges the particles, and then they'll flow into a collection cell and attach themselves to the collection cell because of how they're charged through the ionizer. As you can see, you have some negative particles or positively charged particles running through there with negative collection cells, and it causes them to attach. You end up with clean air coming out the other side. One of the ones that we use occasionally is Honeywell. It's an electronic air cleaner. It's going to be a little more of the older style than the IAQ cleaner that we'll show you in a minute. But it's going to have, you see this in the back, you see this area here. It's more of a collection, a metal washable filter type. And then over inside of that, you have your ionizer, which is really just metal brackets that are charging the filters, or the air particles, sorry. And then when it hits the other side, you can see this blue is really, there's some plastic collection cells with really small holes, look kind of like a honeycomb type thing. You'll be able to see it better on the AccuClean. But this filter will typically run you $1,000 to $1,500 to add onto your system, depending on where your system is located. If it's located in a closet, it becomes very difficult to add on because you have to uninstall the air handler to install the filter base. But if it's in an attic, you can basically take your ductwork off, add this on, attach your ductwork to it. And it's a very, very good filter. It'll be a step up from your April Air media filters like this. And it incorporates in the electrostatics along with the different pre-filtration and stuff. I really like these for the cost. This though is probably the best filter in the market in my opinion. It's if you buy it from Train, it's called the Clean Effects. If you buy it from American Standard, it's called an AccuClean, but same filter. As you can see here, there's this little black pre-filter here. It slides out on its own, and you can wash it out with a garden hose or whatever and then dry it back out. These last for years. They don't catch any real small particles. They're just there to catch your bigger dust particles. And then you see this inside piece. It's got circles cut out of it, out of an aluminum shell, and that's how it's charging the particles before it gets to the collection cell, much like the electrostatic filter over here was charging with the up and down metal blocks. This is more using a circular pattern in there. And then as it gets out the other side, this white part looks like a honeycomb, like you would see in a beehive almost. And basically all the particles are attaching there. So you clean this pre-filter once every 30 to 60 days, something like that. The part in the middle that's charging them, you take a soft cloth and you wipe it off. I tell people to go ahead and do it with their pre-filter, but you really could do it every 6 months when you clean out the collection cells. The collection cells, you can use a air compressor, or you can use a vacuum or whatever, and get all of the dust and particles out of that. And it'll have a, sorry, I should have this within reach. On the door, they'll have a button you can reset. It'll basically tell you how dirty or clean it is, and you can reset it once you clean it out. And you'll want to service that main part of it every 6 months or so. Some people just don't like doing it. They have to go into the attic to their unit or whatever to do it. You can set up with us a different appointment to do it every 6 months. And basically we'll come clean it and service your unit. But this filter, the Honeywell version, I believe it gets particles to like 0.4 microns. They have the 3-stage filtration. It knocks out allergens, bacteria, mold spores, almost anything that's going through your home. It's very similar to the Train or American Standard IAQ Clean one, but the IAQ Clean one goes down to 0.3 microns. That's wiping out 99.98% of anything in your air. So this one will essentially give you the cleanest air. There's a really cool video on YouTube that shows them turning on a smoke machine and it scrubbing the air and coming out clean on the other side. We have it linked on our YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Along with filters, there's UV lights and stuff that will add on. Say you wanted to use the media filter or you wanted to use your standard pleated filter on your unit, but you're still concerned about viruses, bacteria, mold spores, that type of stuff. What you would add on as a less costly option than adding a AccuClean or a electronic air cleaner is you can add this Remy Halo. It's there's other UV lights. We prefer this one because it combines the UV light with some different type of purification. It's basically emitting out a really low level hydrogen peroxide, and that it goes into your system air at the supply. So basically anywhere that air is blowing in your home, it's blowing out, and it'll go across your counters and your windows and your floors and everything in your home basically, and be killing off viral particles, bacterial particles, etc. And then it's providing some ionization and different stuff across it to where it's basically attaching different small particles to other small particles to make them larger. That way your filter catches them. These are very good units. They can be installed for around $700, and combined with your everyday filter, they essentially give you a very close experience to what would be the AccuClean or the electronic filtration system. But either one's a good option, but really if you're combining the two, you'll get really close to the same. Sorry, Weston's walking in and out of the door on me here, kind of blinding me. But anyways, that's our filtration basically on your AC systems. You can use many different styles. Different ones will give you different time periods in between. The important thing is to remember to set a schedule and stick to a schedule. If you're using a filter that will last 4 or 6 months, that's great, as long as you change it every 4 or 6 months. If you're still going to forget about it and it's going to be a year, having that bigger filter doesn't do you much good. If you stick with the 30-day filters, it's like the 1-inch pleated. It's a lot easier to remember them, and coupled with a Remy Halo or electronic kind of air cleaner in your duct system that can be like the Remy Halo can go into almost any duct system. It's a very good option. It'll give you very clean air throughout your house. If you are replacing your system, it's really easy to add on one of the Honeywell ionizations or the AccuClean, and both of those will give you cleaner air than almost anything else in your home. But if you have any questions, please give us a call, send us a text, shoot us a Facebook message, whatever your preferred means of communication is. And and we'll kind of answer what we can. If you are needing filters that you can't find, let us know and we'll try to find them for you. Or if you're just curious about different allergy problems or stuff that you have in your home and what you can do to kind of combat those, get back with us on that as well. In the meantime, I appreciate you all stopping by, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.